Why don't you cry, my babe, into an ocean wave, and baby, I'll leave
Hello guys, I decided I would make a quick video about a case update. On February 9, 2023, just weeks before her second birthday, Oaklee Snow was murdered by her mother's boyfriend. Sadly, her body was found in a dresser drawer of an abandoned house. I did cover this case in a video I did about 3 weeks ago. At that time, her body had not been found, but now it was found. Although she's an Oklahoma girl, she was found in Indiana, and I'll explain all that to you as we go. But since this is a child case, viewer discretion is advised. Hello, my name is Ollie, and welcome to the Murder She Shed, where we honor the dead right from my she shed. Hit that subscribe button for more rarely told true crime and breaking news cases. Case updates just like this. You need to hit it. You will hopefully enjoy my channel. I don't know. Don't hit it if you want. I don't care. Some of my families used to say, I don't care, Dookie Dog. And that's what I feel about the subscribe button today. I don't care, Dookie Dog, because I'm just suffering through tornado damage right now. Me and Simon are just suffering through tornado damage right now. In case you didn't watch my last video, on April 19th, our house was destroyed by a tornado. I think they classified it as an E3, but it felt like an E100 to me when it hit. If you want to see more on that video, it's the last video I made. You can go back and watch that on my channel. But yeah, so I'm taking a break from picking up all that tornado damage today just to give you a case update on this little girl, because this case is kind of important to me, being a little girl from Oklahoma, and sadly she was found dead. And I'd already done a case on it, and it was just really upsetting to me. Although I knew she probably didn't stand a chance, I was hoping up on hope they would actually find her alive, but no such luck. Oaklee Snow is a beautiful Oklahoma girl who would have turned 2 on March 10th, but was murdered 1 month and 1 day before her birthday. 22-year-old Maddie Marshall, Oaklee's mother, and her boyfriend, 25-year-old ROAN Waters, are accused of abducting Oaklee and her baby brother from their father's Oklahoma home on January 19th. Before Oaklee and her 7-month-old brother were kidnapped, Oaklee had already endured months of abuse from the mother's boyfriend, ROAN. Both Maddie and ROAN were hooked on drugs. This would cause the couple to be non-functioning for prolonged periods of time. They would just place their children in front of the TV and let that be the babysitter for the majority of the day. They were just so whacked out of their minds all the time, sadly. Their mother would never hold them or show them any type of love. Maddie, who was a young mother, was heard by friends saying that she had never wanted Oaklee anyway. ROAN would allegedly whoop or spank Oaklee as a form of discipline. He had also occasionally choked her out. ROAN would discipline Oaklee if she cried too much, urinated in her diaper, held a fork wrong, and other behaviors common of a toddler. Oaklee eventually stopped eating around ROAN because he regularly became aggressive with her when she would not eat at the pace he wanted her to. Apparently, when she couldn't hold her fork right, he had beat her. Horrible. You know, toddlers, it's really hard for them to gain that motor control. She's getting beat for something she couldn't even help. So sad. Allegedly, Maddie tried to explain to ROAN that she was only a toddler and did not understand even what he was wanting her to do. Maddie said the PA he directed towards Oaklee would often get redirected towards her if she would attempt to stop him. I never understand how a mother can be with a man that's like that. I guess just drugs got her in the middle of that. I just never understood how you're going to be with a man that hurts your child like that, but I'm not going to judge. I'm not here to judge. I'll just finish my story. While the children were in custody of their mother on October 25th, 2022, ROAN, who lived at the same residence as Maddie, had hit Oaklee in the mouth with his hand because she had been crying. This had caused a cut on Oaklee's upper lip. Maddie claims when she attempted to intervene, ROAN hit her on the left side of her face. The impact left a contusion over Maddie's left eyelid and cheek. The next day, Maddie contacted the sheriff's office to report the PA by her boyfriend. After the authorities arrived, Rowan allegedly answered the front door and asked the detectives if they had a warrant to be on his property. Before they could answer, he slammed the door in their faces. The deputies attempted to explain through the closed door the purpose of their presence was for a welfare check, but Rowan allegedly yelled for them to get the F out. As the deputies returned to their marked police vehicles, a blue-colored SUV pulled up next to them. Deputies identified the people in the SUV as Maddie and her 2 children. Rowan appeared to see Maddie's interaction with the officers and left the home at that point. Police reported he immediately began yelling so the deputies could no longer hear what Maddie was saying. Rowan also began playing loud music to further disrupt the conversations. The deputies eventually left the property after Maddie attempted to assure them that she and her children were not in any danger. Later in the day, when Maddie went to return the children to their biological father, he actually called authorities again to report the PA. Authorities came to his home where they photographed Maddie's and Oaklee's injuries. They documented the report in order to present the case to the Oaklee County Prosecutor's Office for possible charges. Maddie reportedly requested that only charges be filed against Rowan for his PA against Oaklee rather than her. Then on November 7th, the District Court of Oaklee County filed a warrant for Rowan's arrest for the charges of CA and domestic assault and battery in the presence of a minor. Then only a month and a half later, Maddie and Rowan abducted the 2 children from their father, who lives in Cromwell, Oklahoma, and took them to Indianapolis, where Rowan's family lives. The couple drove to Indiana in a Dodge Durango that actually smelled of animal feces. After arriving, they stayed at a rent home that belonged to Rowan's mom at 305 Albany Street in Indianapolis. Rowan's mother also supplied the couple with diapers and formula for the children. One of Rowan's friends stated they saw bruising on Oaklee and saw makeup around her face and mouth that appeared to try to cover the bruise on her face. Rowan's sister, who had visited the rent house, had also seen bruising on Oaklee's leg. She confronted Maddie and Rowan about the bruise, but they just ordered her to leave the residence. The couple would often visit a trap house that was only a few houses from where the couples actually rented their house, and they would get drugs and use drugs there. On March 3rd, the authorities finally were able to arrest Rowan for his outstanding warrant at a hotel in Greenwich Village, Colorado. Through their follow-up investigation at the scene of the arrest, officers determined Maddie had also been staying with Rowan at the hotel, but found they had no reason to even detain her at that time. Additionally, they reportedly found no signs that children had even been with them in Colorado. After Rowan was arrested, he told detectives that he and Maddie had made the decision to abandon Oaklee's brother at the trap house, the drug house, and told detectives that they had also left Oaklee behind in Indiana before traveling to Colorado. Rowan added that a family member had recovered the other child from the house, the trap house, and had since turned the child over to the Indiana Department of Child Services. Oaklee's brother was recovered from the trap house on February 9th by Rowan's mother. When she picked the baby up from a man named Chad, the baby had been naked but seemed to be unharmed. Since Rowan's mother had to go back to work, she then took the baby to Rowan's sister's house. Rowan's sister was able to contact Rowan and ask him why he had abandoned that little baby in the trap house. He claimed that Oaklee had fallen off a bouncy ball and hurt herself, and him and Maddie had left to take Oaklee to the ER. Oaklee's brother was turned over to DHS that night and returned to his biological father in Oklahoma, thank God. After investigating, no hospital in the area had seen Oaklee that night. An unidentified resident at the trap house claimed that they had seen Rowan and Maddie leaving the house with what looked like a child wrapped in a blanket. He stated the child did not appear to be moving, talking, or crying, which is something I said in my last video. So I knew there was a bad sign at that point when they seen that baby. like that. That's horrible. Authorities were able to get a search warrant for the Albany rent house, but a neighbor told them they would not find anything because actually sometime in February, a cleaning crew had been at the home. The authorities only found baby items on the first floor of the home. But a cadaver dog did indicate human remains may have been inside the interior of the Dodge Durango the couple had drove. They decided that Maddie could now be arrested for neglect of her children. About time. After Rowan's arrest, Maddie was brought back to Indianapolis by Rowan's mom. Maddie had asked Rowan's sister if she could stay with her, but Rowan's sister told her only if you tell me where Oaklee is. But she refused and left on foot. Then on March 13th, detectives went to a bus station in Indianapolis and confirmed Maddie had left for North Carolina. She was then arrested March 23rd in Bun Level, North Carolina. Never heard of that. Different sort of name. Sorry if I said that wrong. Bun Level? I don't know. Something like that. Shortly after arrest, Maddie allegedly admitted to detectives it was Rowan who had killed Oaklee on February 9th. Maddie stated on the morning of February 9th, she and Rowan reportedly woke up to Oaklee crying because she was hungry. Rowan allegedly threw Oaklee onto the floor in response because her crying agitated him. Oaklee's head hit the floor, which caused Oaklee to have a red bump above her right eye. Maddie applied some of her own makeup to Oaklee's face to try to hide that bruise. That was the same makeup a friend that had entered the home that morning previously told police they saw on Oaklee's face on the last day they saw her alive. Maddie then prepared some ramen noodles for Oaklee as a snack because she said she was hungry. Maddie said she then started preparing lunch for everyone. When the friend left the home, Oaklee even tried to follow him out the door, but the friend stopped Oaklee and told her they would be right back. I bet he wished he took her now. Oaklee then reportedly entered the kitchen and said, "Mama, eat." Maddie said she told Oaklee that she was making them all food and to wait in the other room. Oaklee then walked into the living room where Rowan was watching TV while Oaklee's little brother was lying on the floor in front of him. Shortly thereafter, Maddie began hearing Rowan yell at Oaklee. He was ordering her to bounce on a bouncy ball. It had a handle on top which allowed kids to lightly bounce up and down as they sat on it. I'm sure you've seen those balls with the handles that they can bounce up and down. That's just strange. Why did he want her to bounce on that ball? I found that really weird. Maddie allegedly said she told him that Oaklee was likely too small to sit on it by herself. Maddie then recalled hearing Rowan's voice continually get louder and angrier as he told Oaklee to bounce. Maddie yelled back at him multiple times to calm down and that Oaklee probably did not understand what he was yelling about. After the fifth and loudest time that he yelled at her, Maddie stopped what she was doing in the kitchen and walked into the living room. And she saw Rowan standing over Oaklee as she sat trying to bounce on that ball. He allegedly told Maddie to quit coming in there and sat back down on the couch. Maddie said she took his retreat as a matter of being resolved, so she went back to the kitchen to prepare their meal. Then Maddie did not recall hearing anything else from the living room until approximately 10 minutes later. At that time, Rowan screamed for her twice. Maddie stated she had never heard Rowan sound like that before, so she said she ran towards the living room. Maddie met Rowan in the hallway as he held Oaklee in his arms. She saw that Oaklee was not moving. Rowan then continually repeated that he didn't do anything and that it wasn't his fault. Rowan initially refused to let Maddie take Oaklee from him, and she was naked when Rowan had brought her into the hallway. Maddie said she could see Oaklee's stomach and chest cavity extend as if she was trying to breathe air. However, Maddie said she saw what appeared to be a mix of blood and spittle dripping from Oaklee's mouth when she tried to exhale, which created a gurgling sound. Oh, it's awful. Oaklee's eyes remained closed throughout this time. Maddie said Rowan placed her in the nearby bathtub and attempted to douse her with cold water to wake her up. Why do these people always do that? Their child's dying and it seems like they always put them in the bathtub. I absolutely don't know. I mean, they're already cold if they're dying. What you sticking them in the bathtub for? When that failed, Rowan allegedly brought Oaklee into their bedroom and handed her to Maddie. Rowan then allegedly wrapped Oaklee in a blanket that a family member had recently purchased for Maddie. It was a pink and white Victoria's Secret blanket. Maddie then placed Oaklee in the back seat of the Durango so that her feet were facing the driver's side and her head was toward the passenger side. Oaklee eventually stopped trying to breathe and her lips had become blue. Maddie said she felt Oaklee's skin, which now seemed cool to the touch. Maddie said she could also no longer feel a heartbeat as she held Oaklee. She attempted to call 911 at this point, but Rowan slapped the cell phone from her hand and took it from her. I suppose sometime during this time, they went to the trap house, where an individual seen Oaklee wrapped in a blanket and not moving while they did drugs. Although it doesn't say that in affidavit, if the guy said they were there and he knew what the blanket looked like, apparently Maddie's leaving out parts of the story, so we don't know exactly what to believe on this. Rowan's grandparents have 20 acres that are heavily wooded in Martinville, Indiana, which in my last video I stated if the family did own any land, that should definitely be checked first for a body. Maddie initially denied leaving the Albany Street home with Rowan on February 9th with Oaklee's body. However, she eventually admitted to detectives that she had indeed left with him to dispose of Oaklee's remains. Rowan and Maddie drove his Dodge Durango onto the highway away from Indianapolis with the three of them in the vehicle. Maddie remembered seeing a sign for Martinsville shortly before exiting the highway. She then recalled that Rowan motioned towards home along a road and told her that it was his grandparents' house. Maddie said Rowan allegedly drove down multiple other roads until they arrived at what appeared to be a building, an abandoned home that was falling apart on top of a steep hill. They parked the Durango not far from the residence on a surrounding gravel road, and he carried Oaklee inside through a window. Maddie told detectives she stayed in the vehicle while Rowan disposed of Oaklee's body inside of the building. Rowan had went inside and stuck Maddie's little body inside of an old dresser drawer. Apparently, Rowan's grandparents didn't even know he was on the land that day. They had no idea. I guess he just went on and they didn't see him. After Maddie was arrested and told authorities about the last moments of Oaklee's life, authorities took her to the area of Morgan County where they thought Oaklee might be. By the time they reached the wooden home that was falling apart on that hill, Maddie reportedly stated, "Oh my God, that's it." She became hysterical and repeated, "That's it," several times. Detectives entered and said the interior was extensively cluttered with trash and debris. It was difficult to walk through. A sour odor emitted from deeper in the partially exposed living room. Detectives then tracked the odor to a wooden dresser leaning against the living room wall near the kitchen. Officers know that odor when they smell it. Sadly, they knew that they were at the right spot, and they knew that baby was probably in that dresser drawer. Both parties departed from the home, and they had to obtain a warrant to search it for the remains of Oaklee. They identified the property containing the hill and the building as being in the 5800 block of South Bear Wallow Road in Morgantown, Indiana. ISP investigators then found the decomposing remains of a small child in the bottom drawer of the identified dresser. In an interview conducted after the discovery of her daughter's body, Maddie informed detectives that she had actually exited the Durango with Rowan and climbed the hill with him to look at the property the night Oaklee died. She insisted that she had remained outside of the abandoned house while he went inside, despite her previous testimony that Rowan had done it alone. The couple then reportedly climbed back down the hill together. She re-entered the Durango as Rowan removed Oaklee from the back seat. Oaklee was still wrapped in that little blanket as he carried her lifeless body over his shoulder and restarted his ascent up to the home. Maddie then did drugs to get as high as she possibly could after Rowan left. Maddie said Rowan came back with just the blanket several minutes later. Rowan next asked her if she knew where she was. He then allegedly stated, "I don't need to kill you now." He was trying to make it where Maddie would not tell, according to Maddie. That supposedly happened. Give or take, we don't know what actually occurred. Detectives had to remove the upper portion of the dresser in order to get Oaklee's body out. A thin board had either fallen or been placed over her little body. Her blonde hair was in a ponytail with a black-colored ponytail holder. Her left leg below the knee was broken so that her left foot rested directly over her chest. A blue and white sock was still on her broken foot. It is unclear if he had broken her legs in order to fit her body into the drawer, but we can only assume that he did. Maddie is now facing 2 counts of neglect of a dependent, resulting in death in the case. 4 other counts of neglect and assisting a criminal who committed murder. Rowan is charged with murder, 6 counts of neglect of a dependent, and battery. The prosecutor stated, "As parents, we have a duty to protect our children." Not only did these 2 individuals fail to live up to that responsibility, but the allegations in the probable cause affidavit indicated that Oaklee suffered a horrific death and abandonment that diminished the dignity that any child deserved. Oaklee looked like such a doll. It blows my mind how anyone could have harmed that beautiful little girl. But unfortunately, there is true evil in the world. Rest in peace, precious Oaklee Snow. Hit that subscribe button for more, more bloopers, I guess. And that's what I feel about the subscribe button today. I don't care, Dookie Dog, because I just suffering through tornado damage right now. Anyway, so me and my husband are living in the shop now, but luckily the murder she shed survived. And that's how I'm able to still film in the murder she shed. I'm so excited because I looked out here first thing going, oh, please let my she shed be around still, even though my house isn't, because at least God, you can save me the she shed. And here it was. It survived. And the strangest thing is somebody else built her house. It did not survive. But me and my husband built this she shed together, our own hands. So it was really important to me. And we must have made a house of rock because here it is, not a board off of it. And I was so excited. Here are my birds out there singing the spring blues with my house all torn up in my yard, all over the front of my she shed. At least they're happy. Someone's happy, right? Bun level, I don't know. Something like that. Sorry, North Carolinians. That's Simon getting mud all over me as usual. Guys, this has been a rough week for me, so if I look rough, I just apologize. One day at a time, sweet Jesus. Sweet Jesus. One day at a time. I do love y'all, and I thank you. You've been so kind to me in all your comments. I thank you for supporting my channel. I thank you for not unsubscribing. Even though I don't have as much time to do my videos, I'm going to get back to normal pretty soon. So I do love y'all, and I thank for all your support, no matter what. And here's my baby to tell y'all bye. Say bye, baby boy. Say bye. Say bye. You want to get up here and wave at him like you did last time? You did a wave. Do a wave for him. Look how muddy you are. It's so wet out here. Wave at him. All my fish died in my garden pond because I have the whole roof is on top of my garden pond out there. And I feel so sad and I see them floating up. But this little dude, look at him on my couch now. This one, Max, been somehow getting underneath there. I'm so scared that stuff's gonna fall on him. I've been yelling at him not to get on there. But he's been getting inside there and swimming in that water and it smells so bad. What the heck? So we had to give him a bath. It's been crazy. So you guys need to pray for me. I need some serious prayer back in here. We need some prayer, don't we, Simon? We need some serious prayer and love thrown our way. If y'all could do that, we'd appreciate it. You too. You need prayer too. Y'all both need prayer. Y'all both need prayer. We love y'all. We love y'all. Did you say I love you? Tell him I love you. Say I love you. Say I love you. He can sometimes sound like he says I love you. But my brother had a hound dog that can sound just like I love you. It was so weird. I've been trying to teach Simon to say I love you better. But he kind of sort of whines it sometimes. Anyway, love y'all. Bye.
Why don't you cry, my babe, into an ocean where